Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you've seen a couple of my videos so far. We've covered a few basics, a bit of bread and a bit of omelets, and today I'm going to show you something different that you can cook for dinner, and it's called bobotie. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes and then I'll show you how to make it. Hi everyone, welcome back. So we're going to start cooking the bobotie. I'll show you the ingredients. On the right here, we have got 2 small onions very finely diced. Then I've got a half a teaspoon of oil. Actually, this is a bit more, but we're going to pour most of it out again. Then I've got a teaspoon of crushed garlic. I've got 2 teaspoons of strong curry powder. I've got 1 teaspoon of turmeric and a small glass of water. This is for cooking, so I don't measure it. It's just for the cooking. So we're going to switch on the pan, the gas actually. It can be medium to high temperature. And we'll do the same as we've done with the omelette. We add a teaspoon of oil, but it's a bit much for Dukan. So I'll show you what we do. Before the pan is too hot, I just rub the whole pan with the oil, and basically the tea towel is soaking most of it up. Now if your non-stick pan is brand new, you probably don't even need the oil, or what you can do is to use a spray. So we're just going to put our onions in now. You can wait till the pan is a bit warmer. So we're just going to cook these off. At the same time, you can add your garlic and your spices, because the spices do improve when you cook them a bit, better flavor. So this is your turmeric and our curry powder. You can hear the onions busy starting to sizzle. Just give that a little while to start cooking. Now you'll notice, because we don't use a lot of oil at all, it looks a bit dry, and you don't want the spices to burn. So that is why we start adding a bit of water. So we're just going to add a little bit of water, something like a tablespoonful. You can always add more. And we're just looking at cooking these onions. We're basically sweating them off. It's not about trying to fry them, to color them. It's just literally to sweat them off a bit. A little bit more water. And this process is quick. 1 or 2 minutes, not much more. And you get a lovely smell of the spices. There we go. Just leave that a little bit. You can add a little bit more water. The moment you see the onions are slightly soft, you know they are ready. Make sure at all times that the pan does not burn, because it will be better. So now what I'm doing, I'm switching the gas off. And we want these onions now to cool off. I'm going to just move them off the plate. If you want them to cool off a bit quicker, you can just scrape them onto a plate or a bowl, some cold surface. But we're going to be doing other things while they're cooling off, so we'll just leave them here. And now we're going to the main table here, where I'm going to show you the rest of the recipe. Okay, so what we've got here is our oat bran. There's only 6 tablespoons of oat bran in this recipe. And the idea is to portion this into 6 portions, and that means you'll only get half the amount of oat bran in for that day if you eat the bobotie, if you're on the cruise phase. So you can still have your 1 slice of toast in the morning or 1 muffin at some point during the day, so you won't be using all your oat bran allowance up in this recipe. Then we've got wheat bran, half the amount, 3 tablespoons, and then I've got some milk, 250 milliliters of milk. Now in the original recipe, this was 2 slices of white bread soaked in milk. So this is where the changes come in. Then we've got 500 grams of mince here. Now try to find yourself some mince that's less than 5% fat. Not so easy always to find that, but if you make your own mince, you can control the fat content a lot better. Then the next ingredient I've got here is some goji berries. For those of you who have watched my goji berry muffin recipe on the channel, you'll be familiar with these. These are the ones that's gone slightly soft. So the original bobotie recipe was sultanas, so this is what I used to make it Dukan friendly. They are not that sweet, so if you wanted to soak them in a little bit of sweetener and water, then they will give you the sweetness that the sultanas normally give you. But I just leave that out. And then what we have is a bit of seasoning, half a teaspoon salt, half a teaspoon pepper. If you don't want your bobotie to be too spicy, just don't put the pepper in. Okay, and then last of all here at the end, we've got 1 egg and we've got 100 milliliters of milk. And this is going to be our little egg custard that's going to go over it in the end. So we'll be starting to put that together. So the first thing we'll do is we will soak our oat bran and wheat bran. We get a bowl. So very easy, just put your oat bran in a bowl and your wheat bran. Then I'm going to add the milk and we'll give it a little stir. Here we go. So you're just really mixing it through, and we're just going to leave that to stand for a few minutes. We're waiting for the onions to cool off anyway. Here we go. Easy. Now the next thing we're going to do, in a large mixing bowl, I'm going to put the mince in there. Here we go. And on top of that, I'm going to add the goji berries. Here we are. I'm going to add my salt. Here we go. And pepper. There we go. And we'll just leave that here for now, because we're still going to add the onions and the spices to this mixture. In the meantime, while we're waiting, I'm going to add first the egg, and then after that the milk. Here we go. And we just whisk the egg and the milk together a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot of whisking. I just want it to mix nicely. There we go. Break up the egg. It's one of my favorite recipes, these. And I thought I can't have it, but after thinking a bit about it, I realized with a few small changes, we can do it. All right, so we are ready with these. I'm going to see if the onions have cooled off enough now. Let's have a look here. So basically, just feel them. If they are not too hot to touch, they are ready. So I'm going to scrape them on top of the mince here. Here we go. Don't be afraid, use your fingers. We're actually going to be mixing this mince by hand because that's the best way to get all the spices through there. So at this point I will just switch the oven on. So the oven needs to be at 180 degrees Celsius and we're going to be baking it in the middle of the oven. So the next thing we're going to be adding is our soaked oat bran. That is nice and mixed and soaked now. It's soft, it looks a bit like porridge. So that just goes in the mixture. And now the best way is get your hands in there because you want your salt and pepper and spices to be well mixed. So here we go. It's slightly wet mix, but once it's baked, it's going to all hold together very nicely. You can, of course, if you want to, put another egg through the mince mixture if you want your bobotie to be a little bit more solid. I kind of prefer not having the egg through it because then it's kind of a bit lighter texture. So now I'm going to wash my hands for a second. There we go. And the next step is really easy. We are just going to find ourselves a nice oven-proof dish. This one is roughly about 20 by 20 centimeters. You can use slightly smaller dish or a bigger one, any shape you like. And we just spoon in our meat mixture here. Here we go. And now what I'm going to do is just pat it down gently, not too tight. I don't want to compact it too much. There we are. And to make it ready for the oven, we've got our egg mixture here. You can, if you want to, make little holes in the mince for the egg mixture to go in a little bit deeper. And we just pour the egg on top. Here we go, it's just making a thin layer on top. There we go. And this is now ready to go in the oven. So we'll put that in the oven once the oven is up to temperature. And once that's cooked, I will show you what it looks like. It will take up to 50 minutes in the oven. Depending on your oven, it might take a little bit longer, but what you're looking for is just for the mince to be cooked. You can put a temperature probe in if you want, but normally when you press on it, it will bounce back a bit when the mince is cooked. So we'll be back in about 50 minutes to see what this bobotie looks like. See you soon. Okay, so the oven is beeped now. Let's have a look at it. 50 minutes. Oh, it's got good color on it. It's a little bit darker there where you see the goji berries, but it's totally fine. Let me switch that off here. There we go. So there we go. Your bobotie is ready. Now normally I would leave this at least 5 or 10 minutes to cool off a bit before you eat it. But I'm going to just to show you when I dish it up what it looks like. So I'll loosen the sides a bit. But bobotie is actually really nice even if you eat it cold. So if those of you looking for a packed lunch idea, you can cut yourself a portion of bobotie, take it to work, and you can even have it cold. Now it does portion a little bit neater when it's cold. So the idea is to divide this bobotie into 6 portions, do down the middle here, and it's actually quite a big portion. Excuse me if it's not exactly accurate here. You can still hear it sizzling. Here we go. So it's lovely and moist. And now I'm going to dish this up for us. Here we go. Another one over here. Oopsie. Okay, so on your veggie day, you can use a little side salad. You can also serve it with vegetables. And on your protein day, if you were wondering what you can have with that, I personally think a little bit of cottage cheese works really well with it. So we'll do a bit of cottage cheese on the side. Low fat or fat-free cottage cheese. Just a nice dollop of cottage cheese on the side. There we go. So there we are. Your protein day and your veggie day. Well, I really hope you've enjoyed watching our video today. I hope you've enjoyed it. And please remember to subscribe if you haven't already. And we're looking forward to seeing you next time. Have a nice day. Bye.